Hello, heroes. I want to thank everybody for coming in and listening to episode number 29 of the Nexus podcast, a special Sunday night recording. I am your host, Adam Eastwood, and this week we have our very own lore-loving, time-altering gamer, David Troy.
Valar Margulis, everybody. We're here literally minutes after the final episode, season finale for Game of Thrones just completed. However, I've been sworn to secrecy by everybody else on the podcast who decided to show up on time instead of watching the episode.
We have a Blizzard and esports enthusiast, Ben Blazik.
Greetings this evening from Dallas, Texas. This is my new location for my assignment this week, and I'm proud to say that I am not a Game of Thrones bandwagon person. I have never seen an episode. So I show up on time.
Valar Margulis, Ben.
And our kidnapped co-host this week from the HotScast. Your official HotScast now, right, Rilandune?
That is correct.
I was gonna say, I'm like, are you? I forgot if you actually made the official change of the name, and I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now. I'm live.
Well, you messed up my intro there because it was going to be, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the heart of the Nexus. This is the Nexus podcast, and I am a guest. How's it going, everybody?
Well, as all of our listeners know, we like to kind of get into it, with our co-host for the week, and kind of ask you some questions, some basic questions. So the first question, Real, is how did you get into podcasting? Kind of give us a quick bio of you.
Very first podcast I ever downloaded and listened to was The Instance, which I think a lot of people could probably say that. And I immediately fell in love with the genre, with the medium, so to speak. And from there, I started branching off into listening to other shows, and I found the Twisted Nether blogcasts. Anybody who's listened to HotScast will have heard me mention that because Mike Finless, my co-host, is the host of that show. And I was a listener to that show for a while, and at the time, I was writing a rogue blog. That went through a couple different names. It started out as a Rogue's Tale, and then I switched it over to Heroically Random, which I still use today. And they invited me as a guest onto that show. And I was so nervous, I could hardly sit still. I mean, I was shaking, literally shaking, when they invited me on as a guest. And from there, I started hosting my own lore show, a World of Warcraft lore show called The Overlords with my buddy Jason, a.k.a. Nevik, who does the Shattered Soulstone podcast now. And the rest is history. That was about 3.5 years ago, and I've been podcasting regularly ever since.
Oh wow! I didn't realize you've been podcasting that long.
I think it was about, what year are we in?
20.
Yeah, I think it was in 2010. Yeah, I think it was in 2010 when I started, towards the end of 2010. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Now, I know we all know that you're in the alpha along with us now, but think back before you were in the alpha. I know it's been a while now. Who did you originally think was going to be your hero to play?
Well, way back at BlizzCon 2013, when I first saw the game and sat down, I forget who I went in with at first. I don't know. But I ended up playing Tyrael the first time I ran the version that they had at BlizzCon 2013. And I thought, this is it. Tyrael is my guy, my main. I actually, in my league days, really liked playing Kayle, or Kaylee sometimes, called Kayle, which is kind of like the female paladin winged plate-wearing class. And Tyrael felt a lot like Kayle. So it's something that I kind of latched onto right away. I actually didn't end up playing any other heroes while I was at BlizzCon. Every time I sat down at the heroes table, I just kept playing Tyrael and figured, yep, that's it. That's my character. And that was what I anticipated up until the alpha launch, and then Tyrael was like, eh.
So now that you're in the alpha and you're playing, who's your main go-to character if you can play whoever you want?
My main, as you guys can probably attest, because I usually end up playing him most of the time when I'm with you guys, is Uther. I loves me some Uther. I love playing Ret Paladin Uther. I actually played a Paladin in WoW for many years, Rogue mainly, but Paladin. And I love the Paladin class. I love that kind of mystique. And Uther felt more like that than Tyrael did, at least at the time. I do like, well, not to get off topic, but I do like the changes they made to Tyrael now. But yeah, Uther is probably my go-to. However, Tychus is starting to fight for that spot right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how a lot of heroes can be like you don't realize how good they are until you start playing them. Then you're like, oh my god, this is my favorite hero. And then you play somebody else and you're like, this is my favorite hero. So you just keep switching, and it's whoever.
The problem is, I really haven't found one that I dislike. I mean, there's ones that there are certain aspects to them that I don't care for as much as others, but I haven't found a hero that I'm like, yeah, I don't like that hero. I'm never going to pick that one up again. That actually makes it difficult.
Okay, well, we're going to go move into our weekend game, and we're going to go ahead and start with Ben. What have you been up to?
Not too much. I'm on travel for this entire month, so I've been going all over the country for work and not playing as much as I normally do. So I'm playing a little bit of Heroes, played WildStar, got to max level, and got my full PvP set already. And I haven't really done too much. Just been kind of trying to rest up a little bit because I don't sleep on airplanes and stuff. So not a whole lot to report.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Still playing WildStar. I'll give you another 2 weeks and then done.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
2 weeks and done?
2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not one of those, WoW kitties that has it easy. So, there's a lot to be done.
2 weeks.
Wow. That hurts. That hurts a lot.
That does.
Now, if we go back to original WoW, which I know will never happen, I'll be happy. But, I have my opinion.
Man. You're one of those. 40 mans, attunement, that whole deal.
Dude, 49 Nax was my all-time favorite raid, period. And then original open world PvP, South Shore Torn Mill, where hundreds of people are going at it at one time. Yeah, those were the days.
They were fun days. I agree.
David, what have you been doing in game?
When I listen to some of these esports teams and they talk about practicing every day and they really have to, I always wondered, do you really have to practice at a game that you play a lot? And what I'm finding out, the answer is yes, because I've been spending a lot of the time kind of just away from gaming a little bit. It's the World Cup, which in Toronto at least is a huge, huge deal because we have this incredible multicultural community. So there's constantly people waving a flag out in the streets like a party for 2 weeks. So I really kind of spent a lot of time watching the World Cup. Spent a little bit of time in WildStar. I'm taking it easy, but I did actually buy it. So I looked kind of silly from a few episodes ago when I said I wouldn't. But it's actually a pretty good game, and it deserves my money. So, yeah, I mean, I figured it deserved the cash. So I decided to spend a little bit of time. So I played a little sporadically in Heroes. What I have found, though, is that taking the time off, I'm, really slow and, not nearly twitchy enough. So I'm gonna get back into the swing of things this upcoming week now that, the World Cup is kind of, it's still going, but, the novelty's worn off. And, still stay a little bit in WildStar and going to start some heroic raiding next week. But I want to get back in because I feel like I'm a little bit rusty. My precision strikes aren't very precise, and my zombie walls are hitting the wrong people. So I'm going to jump in and do a little bit more heroes next week.
So let me get this right. You're willing to spend money on WildStar, but you won't spend a dime on Heroes of the Storm?
On the game I actually do a podcast on? Well, yeah, because I can't play WildStar unless I spend money on it. I mean, that's it. If you want to have a free-to-play game, that's the way it works, right? I mean,
well, at least
to me, it's now a point of principle, really.
At least I'm in the clear on that because I already dumped 150 into Heroes, so I'm good there.
Yeah, you're right there. I'm still.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. We still have Josh, who I think hit the limit at this point.
Did he really?
I don't know if he really did, but it seems like he did every time I play with him. Real, what have you been up to in Heroes? Any other games you've been playing?
Actually, I'm in a similar boat with David in terms of watching the World Cup because there is nothing greater on this green earth than the beautiful game of football, actual real football. So it's funny, I have a similar thing going on where I have noticed when I do get into Heroes, which hasn't been as much in the last 4 or 5 days, I'm definitely rusty. I'm playing like crap. So it's funny. I'm really in the same boat. But I have been playing basically just working through my dailies. I had, a couple games with Diablo characters, a couple games with specialists, that kind of thing. So it's just kind of filling out the dailies, but that was it. And I was really sucking it, really bad. Because I've been watching the footy. In fact, I spent most of the day today. Oh, speaking of which, Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Oh,
To
yeah.
all the fathers on the podcast and the listeners.
I was going to say there's 2 fathers, one soon-to-be father.
That's right,
in Ben.
yeah.
I
And
don't think you're a father, are you, Ben?
that he knows of.
I don't want kids.
Not that you know of. Yeah. All this traveling, though, who knows what's going to happen?
This is true. This is true.
Oh, wow.
Gonna end up like a basketball player and, 12 kids. And
Bill
12
Chamberlain.
kids in 12 states.
That's it, Will Chamberlain.
terrifying
Yep.
thought.
But yeah, I've been watching a lot of footy and loving every second of it.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the World Cup.
Oh,
I don't have the time. Like, I work and go out and have fun. This past Friday, that's why we missed the show. And pretty much I played a little bit of Heroes of the Storm, making sure to get my dailies done, but I'm a little rusty there. Like I said before, I've hit level 40, and I feel like I'm not doing anything else because I have a stockpile of gold. I own all the heroes. I'm waiting for a big wipe or a new feature like a ranked play or something to kind of pull me in and really play more, because I've played all the heroes at this point up to I think almost 10 games played with everybody, so
Wow.
I kind of have an idea of how everyone plays. So it's I'm still getting in there, getting the gold I can, but I'm waiting for something. I need that ranked play.
Why do we? I was like, why do we have to have? Or sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just saying we're kind of in a unique spot right now. Like, when the game actually comes out, and probably in beta too, there's going to be ranked play, which is what we'd be concentrating on now.
Mhm.
But once you hit, I feel exactly what you feel, which is I'm level 40. I'm really it's hard to get motivated to really spend a lot of time in it right now. And, but I think, that's kind of just an aberration because of the
Because
fact
of the situation.
that there's no ranked play. So.
Yeah, and I mean, you also looking. I have like 35,000 gold banked up. So as soon as another hero comes out, I have the gold to buy them. So I figure we're gonna get about a hero a month from here on out. That's what it kind of feels like. So I have the next 3 months covered. So even if I stop doing dailies, I have enough gold, and I would get enough gold just from trying out the new hero when he comes out to buy the 4th one. So that's been a little off. And then the big news for me this week. I've been playing on a lot of World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor.
nice.
So I
really?
did get into the alpha. I got in. I've been playing a bunch of my monk. It is a good time. It's just a horde starting zone and one instance, but I've done that instance like 5 times because tomorrow I have to actually talk intellectual about it and be like, these are my true feelings about this instance. A lot of tank and spank in the instance so far.
That can be good.
Yeah, but I think they just don't have all the abilities in there yet. It feels like there's few things that should be happening that aren't happening right.
Right.
And so I think we're gonna see that. So that was my week. I know a lot of people want to probably kill me out there, but it's okay.
So to piggyback off of the whole needing something to do in Heroes, but see, why do we have to have that kind of mentality? Like, we need more content in order to play. It's an arena game, so the whole thing is to play. What we should be doing is practicing as a team.
Yeah, we should be. But it's like it's that feeling of knowing where you stand with other people, that rank play. It's not even like I wouldn't even say it's content, but a way of knowing how well I'm doing in comparison to other people. Like, I have no way to be like, oh yeah, I'm 1/millionth in the rankings, and now I can get up to 999,999 if I play just a little bit more. Another game, and I think I'm going to make it into Silver League. It's that little bit of drive to know where you fit, and it's hard to know where you fit when there's no ranking or points or score or anything.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Just out of curiosity, do you do is that something big for you for a lot of games, ranking?
So when I play Hearthstone, I only play ranked. I don't play arena.
Okay. Right.
When I play StarCraft, when I played a ton of it, I always played ladder. I don't play unless it's like I'm getting something out of it. Like either I'm playing better. And I play a lot of Heroes of the Storm without that now, just because I like playing with the people I play with.
Right.
But then eventually I want to move into knowing where I stand, or at least get something out of it. Like, I don't play World of Warcraft unless I'm raiding. If I'm not raiding, I tend to just put the game away and wait until the next thing comes out that I can kind of push myself to get done.
Right.
You don't do any PvP, do you?
No, I'm really bad at PvP. third person perspective or even over the shoulder perspective, PvP stuff, I am the last person you want on your team. I'm good top down.
Top down. Yeah.
With a little bit more
top down
strategy.
isometric.
Yeah, third person, man, I cannot play any of those games. I am just horrible.
What do you play? What character? Like, what do you play? What's your class?
In World of Warcraft?
In WoW, yeah.
I play a monk. Obviously.
Oh, that's
Look
right.
at me.
I'm sorry.
I look like a panda. I have short arms, short legs, and a giant torso. Like, that is a panda.
Gotcha. See, I like lived, eat, and breathed. Breathed? Sure. New word. Breathe.
We'll go with it.
Yeah. PvP and WoW. I actually I ended up missing attunement for Karazhan in TBC because my wife went into labor when my guild was running attunement. And by the time I logged back in, everybody was raiding Karazhan, and I was so far behind that there was no way for me to catch up. So I was like, I'll just go PvP.
You didn't have her, like, stop?
Yes.
I know I told my wife I raid.
Just give me 3 hours.
I raid Mondays and it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, so make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, we're gonna go.
We're at that easy.
I'm gonna go ahead and move us right over into the news. There wasn't much news this week, just a couple of little spotlight stuff. So we're just gonna hit it pretty quick. There was an article building the Nexus, the voice of Gazlowe, which I enjoyed it for two reasons. One, I really like Gazlowe, as a lot of people know. He's probably my number one, if at worst number two right now, because I've been playing a lot of Tyrael. And I would just love to have that type of a job where I could actually make voices and be behind the characters. Did any of you guys get a chance to kind of watch it or not?
World Cup.
World Cup.
I saw the video. How about that? There you go.
You saw the video? What do you think of that?
While watching World Cup, I managed to take a peek at the video. I thought it really funny, and I'm pretty jealous of the guy because, like, outright his normal voice is like a stand-up, like, strong-toned voice,
like a superhero.
Yeah, he has like that depth to it, and it's really incredible. And then all of a sudden, he can change it on the fly, and I'm pretty jealous of that. So, dude's pretty spot on for Gazlowe, though. I will say that.
I'm very jealous of voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is an incredible talent that I do not have.
Yeah, it was always the thing. Like, I always wish I could do was like change my voice enough to like sound cool, and like they're like, oh yeah, they told me to have like a little bit of like an East Coast sound to it, and he's like, then I talk like that, but obviously I can't talk like that, so it was just really interesting to me how he just like turned it on, like
right.
mid-sentence almost. So I mean that was pretty cool. And then the other thing was a community spotlight where they had the art of Brad Whitlam, I would assume is how you say that.
Yeah.
So, and he's up on DeviantArt, kind of like a lot of the spotlights that they've been doing, and he had three kind of big pieces. The Diablo 2 Necromancer is a hero idea, and Blackthorn, and a Tychus skin as well, which the big game hunter Tychus.
About time.
Man, yeah, that thing's awesome.
Yes.
I want that in game.
Yeah, that looked really good. Yeah, like I obviously they were trying for it, but I got like such a Jesse Ventura feel from that, and I thought it was just like
That's
I really
awesome.
like
from Terminator,
yeah, like that,
or not Terminator, from Predator. That's
because
awesome.
I think it's written somewhere, right? Like I ain't got time to feed or something. He's got written on it.
I ain't got time to
and
bleed.
like it instantly got me into it. And with the big minigun, like it reminded me of that scene where he's just like like blowing everything away till there's just like this clearing in the forest. I want it to go even more Jesse Ventura now. Like basically just look like him.
What I thought was funny is if I'm reading it right, is on his shirt it says ETC, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool, and kind of mixes it in. This is another thing that I've always wanted to be able to do is to draw.
Mm-hmm.
It's like voice acting and drawing. Like how can I not have those two skills in my life? Like my I have a twin sister and my mother are amazing artists, and I'm like, how did I not get that ability? Like, it's not fair.
Could you not stay in the lines in the coloring book?
No, I still can't. Like,
you have trouble playing Hangman and stuff like that.
playing Hangman. They're like, "What's that supposed to be? Like, is that a goat?"
I have to say one thing: the Blackthorn. I never played that game, but that looked pretty cool. Like I was like, that's like that whole idea of like the sawed-off shotgun look is something that we don't really have in the game, and and because of the way that the intellectual properties are, you don't really like nothing is sort of like takes place in the present day. So I think that's an opportunity as well. I think that'd be really neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of bring in something completely different than the rest of them. The question is, are they going to be able to get Superman in there?
That's gonna be a tough. It'll be a little bit more tough, but I mean, if you look at all the little Easter eggs that are in World of Warcraft, I mean, you're kind of like, why not?
And I don't know if everyone knows, but like Blizzard, one of their first games, or maybe not the first, but back when they before World of Warcraft and stuff, they did do the worst Superman game of all time.
What was the Death of Superman, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Wasn't that the game they did? Death of Superman. So just you don't have
that.
Just do it as a skin for Murky.
Everything's just a skin for Murky.
Yes.
The Super Murky.
That's right.
But yeah, real. They definitely. They did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was back during the same Blackthorn Lost Vikings time.
Yeah, I knew about Blackthorn and Lost Vikings, and I didn't know about the Superman game. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Before Blizzard was.
Back when Mike Morheim was hitting the ATM with his credit card to pay people's paychecks.
Yep, back in the day.
Probably, yeah.
And look at him now.
Now he's
look
in the
at
ATM
him now.
to buy everybody drinks.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Buy everybody Lamborghinis.
Yeah. Like, I just need to take out enough money to buy this new Lamborghini I saw. I'm buying off some guy on the street. It looked cool.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So we're going to have a little bit of forum discussions. There's a few things I went on the forums and saw people either complaining about or talking about that I thought it would be, give us a little bit of talk about something other than our usual, like just straight into the hero spotlight, especially with the slow news week. The first thing I saw is there's actually one or two posts where people really feel that all heroes should be available to everyone to play, especially during this kind of alpha phase. Ben, what are your thoughts? Do you think that they should keep people to unlocking them, or do you think, just open game, test all the heroes as much as they can?
So this is going to touch back a little bit with, my nostalgia and my belief on how alpha and beta testing should be. We're here to test the functionality of the game. No, I don't think we should have it all unlocked. I think we should have to purchase the champions. We are, for number one, we're testing the gold system. Number two, we're testing the real money system. Without those two key elements, we don't know fully how the game would operate in a release stage. So by no means during the alpha or the beta testing, unless it's a specific event, like a beta event weekend where they're trying to do something with teams or whatever, unless it's a specific event, we should not have unlocked champions across the board, period.
What are your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, that's exactly right. We're testing out each of the systems. We're not here to play the game, and part of the system is the purchasing. So if we're not testing the purchasing and how that works, and the prices on the heroes, both real money and gold, the actual functionality of that accounting system in the back end, if we're not testing that, then when it goes live and there are issues, people are going to scream that, Blizzard, why didn't you test this? Well, that's what we're doing. We're testing it. The game is not live. People keep forgetting that. I constantly get into matches with people that are, losing their stuff about certain things, and I'm like, you realize this is an alpha, right? This is not a live game, and that's what we're there to do. So no, I think the system, or what's in place right now is exactly how it should be. And honestly, having played Dota 2, Dota 2 is a fantastic game. I really didn't like the fact that all the heroes or champions, whatever they call them, summoners, were available at all times. It actually kept me from... I actually played fewer of the, whatever they call them, champions in Dota 2 than I did in League. because I had them all open to me. I don't know why that was. So I like the system that Heroes has. Outside of the fact that we're testing it, I like the way it's set up now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, my impression from the forum post was that this guy wasn't talking just about testing. Like, he wanted it forever and ever. That's the system he wants.
Right.
Yeah, in terms of the game. And I have to say, like, as someone who really doesn't spend any money on it, I don't agree with the post. To me, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It negates the entire need for the gold system. It's, frankly, I don't, like, I'm having trouble getting really motivated now, even at level 40. If I had everything available to me right away, so that I don't even have to grind gold. If I'm just like a casual player, like someone who's not necessarily going to play ranked, I wouldn't really see, unless I was just so madly in love with the game, I wouldn't, see the need to put a lot of hours in it. I think there's a certain amount in any game where it's got to be a little bit difficult. And I know we've talked a little bit before about, how, you need to spend 11 months in order to get all the gold, to get the heroes in the game. And yeah, it should be. I mean, that's the whole thing. It should be hard to get that. It should be a real accomplishment. And I don't understand. I don't even understand why Dota would do that. Get it? And I don't think any game, can necessarily, at least to Blizzard standards, survive on just skins and mounts alone. To me, I firmly disagree with the forum poster. I want, I like the rotation. They give you a chance to try things out. And I wouldn't change anything when it comes to this game.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of fit with you guys. Unfortunately, this is one of those things. I think as people who understand how things are getting tested and how kind of the general way a MOBA or hero brawler works, we understand why they're all just not free. However, I do think that at some point, maybe before they do like the final account wipe, before either it goes live or before the final account wipe in beta, like kind of what they did with Hearthstone, where like this is the final account wipe, maybe a month before, unlock all the heroes for everyone, so that way they can get some more like kind of testing on, hero combos, because with everybody open for like a month, you might see a few things that you might not see otherwise, just because there's more people playing certain heroes that they might not have before. I think it might be a necessary step in maybe the beta section, not a technical alpha. And just like a month of, okay, all heroes are free. Let's try to see if we can find some broken combos in terms of just the balancing part of the game. And being in the technical alpha, like you guys have said, we're testing the technical aspects of the game, the purchasing and the spending of gold and the gold accrual and that type of stuff before you start bringing in, just I'm gonna say like the common player. Is that insulting if we call people the common player?
Sure.
The people who
friend of the working class.
Right. Well, you know what I mean, like the people
casuals that ruined World of Warcraft.
No, the people who say they come over from League and they maybe are just gonna try the game out without having the level of fandom that some of us have. They don't want them to come into this game even in a beta stage, see that something's broken, and then never play it again. Where we're understanding that this is an alpha and then a beta, and we're willing to kind of work with that because we're not just picking up the game thinking it's a game that's in a completed stage. Where some people will start doing that when it enters an open beta, or even if they offer like the Founders Pack where you can buy in, people will be like, I'm paying money for sure. It better be in a completed stage where everything works fine."
That's another Sorry, go ahead, David.
One devil's advocate point to that is that it feels really good now because there's a limited set of heroes. So, if let's say, I don't have enough gold to buy Tyrande, but, I like playing her every so often. I mean, it's okay now because I know, in a couple weeks she's going to be back up in the rotation. If we start getting to that point where we're like 90, 100 heroes, well, it's unless they, vastly increase the amount in the free rotation, then that goes from every 3 weeks to every 3 months maybe for a week. I mean that's something that it might change the feel of it a little bit, in that your favorite hero might not come up again anytime soon. Whereas now I know it's not going to be too long until they come around.
All the more reason that if you try him out when he's free and he's your favorite hero and you don't have the gold for him next week, all the more reason for you to spend real money on him.
And that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, and that's part of the business model as well. Again, I'm trying to find a devil's advocate angle on this. And, to me, if you really, if you're going to say you're a free-to-play game, it should be a functional game. And I think it is functional as it is right now. But, again, it's just a slight deviation from my total agreement with all of you guys. It's like I still think they should keep it the way it is, even once they have 100 heroes. But I could see someone's point in that, maybe it'll feel a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic real quick. I think we kind of all agree on the same thing. I think a lot of times we tend to agree with each other, which is weird. I can't wait till the day comes when we are at odds again, like Ben and David, when it comes to certain aspects of the rank system.
That's right, that one-on-one, me and David, one-on-one.
Well, it may be sooner than you think, Adam, with our next topic.
Fight me, bro.
So now, next up is kind of custom builds going into the game, where you pick your talent build ahead of time, and then it just auto levels for you as you're going through. This is what I've seen a couple people talk about it. I found this forum post, and we talked a little bit about it. David, what are your thoughts on specific builds that you set up, so when you're in game with a hero, it just auto levels them?
No, I don't think they should have it in the game, and I'll tell you why. For one thing, really, if you're playing properly, you should be flexible. Like, you should be able to see how the game is going. You should be looking at the comp. You should be, checking it out and reacting as well. I think putting talent builds in is a bit of a trap for players that don't understand that and won't, will just basically get comfortable with that. I mean, I play the build I probably play the most is a very, get the mercenaries, kill the minions, Witchstalker build. And even then, I will change that up depending on the composition, the map, etc. I think there's too many variables. I mean, you shouldn't have the same. Even if you're deciding to play the exact same way, you probably shouldn't have the same talent build in something like Blackheart's Bay as you would in Dragonshire, or the Mines. It's really. I think it's just a trap for new to intermediate players to get into. Whereas I think if you're really playing the game at a high level, you really shouldn't pigeonhole yourself in there.
Mm-hmm. Ben, what are your thoughts on this?
I, for the most part, agree with David for a more elaborate reason. You're kind of setting yourself up for failure with the current way that Versus is right now if you do that. And a hypothetical of that would be, let's say you have 3 supports randomly, it's everybody solo queuing, nobody's group queuing together. And you have 3 supports that go in with a pre-locked talent tree, which is full support. And you get in there and you were with a warrior and a specialist, and it's like, yeah, we have no damage. And then everybody's yelling at each other like, whoa, don't tase me, bro. My thing's locked in place from when I queued up. And it's a recipe for disaster. Having talent calculators outside of the game is fine. Having a pre-locked talent system, no. I don't really see a place for it in this game. And I think it's just a recipe for disaster, period.
Mm-hmm. Real, any thoughts?
Actually, yes, I'm in agreement, believe it or not. It's so surprising that it would be. No. Yeah, I think having with the caveat, if it didn't auto pick or auto level you, maybe. But maybe if it just shot up a hotkey, like, hit F1 and it'll choose your default, your selected talent, and this is what it was somewhere in the UI, yes. But to everyone else's points, you have to change your spec on the fly depending on how your team is doing, what your comp is, what the map is. It's got to change. So just having it automatically pick your next one, no, bad idea. But maybe if you want a specific build that is your most used, but you still have to input whether or not you want it to pick that talent. But at that point, why aren't you just picking your talents? You know, if you know your build that well that you're using the same build over and over again, you can just hit control 1, control 2, control 3. I mean, I've gotten to the point now, especially on Uther, I don't even look anymore. As soon as I hit, each level as they come up, just control 1, control 3, control 4. I love that they put that in there. So no, I don't see a reason for it. Talent calculator outside the game, absolutely, without a doubt, but yeah, not necessarily inside the game.
Oh yeah. I almost think that it should be there. For very specific, like maybe level range, like maybe while your levels 1 through 10, you can pick your build so that way you're learning the what you need to learn about the game opposed to worrying about leveling up your talents. Almost like training wheels. It's something that you have the option to try out when the game starts. You're not going to change your build much anyway, so let the people learn the game and then be like, okay, now you have to pick them. And maybe at that point make it so it's something where you can arrange what order your skills come in, so you can be like, okay, my number 1 ability is whichever one it is, and so that's the one like on top, and then you can kind of order them in order, so that way if you want to be quick about it, it's your control 1, instead of having to be like, okay, it's control 2 and then it's control 1 and then it's control 3 or whatever your hotkeys are. You can make it so at least it's your whatever order you want, but giving the new player the ability just to auto pick, be like, I just want these to be done, I don't want to think about it, I need to learn how to play the game before I can really master changing my talents on the fly.
Man, were you a fan of the training wheel system in Diablo 3 when it first came out?
No, I took those right off because I understood how to play, but there are people out there that don't quite know how to play, and they need that kind of like stepping stone to it. I think it doesn't work as well when you're randomly queuing either later, like if you're in ranked mode, because you can't make the adjustments as needed. But I think there's a certain group of players who probably could use it.
See, the challenge is, though, it's so counterintuitive to take things away from people the higher level they are. Like, everything as gamers we're programmed is that you should have more options and more abilities as you gain in level. So to actually take something away like that, it's just not going to feel right.
Yeah, but I mean, I see your point, but I disagree. It's not like you're taking away something; you're giving them something. You're giving them the ability to pick maybe during that point. Be like, we trust you enough that you're going to be able to pick them while at that time.
But shouldn't I be able to pick them between 1 and 10? I'll be mad if I'm playing the game and I can't.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you're right in that you're taking something away. I was just trying to be argumentative with that one. But
I mean, this is real life. It's survival of the fittest. All right. Period.
What's wrong with the league system and the Dota 2 system, where you kind of have your saved build in the game, but you still need to actively choose them? Right,
and that's what I'm saying. Eventually, you have a save build, so your control 1 is your regular build, and you have to change it later on. But I'm just thinking as a new player who's never played a MOBA before, I would prefer to worry about in-game mechanics opposed to kind of the talent build portion of it.
Right.
And being on the fly, you could click the wrong one, and you could end up with something that doesn't even help you because you're not really learning. Like,
with the exception of level 10 and level 20, choosing the skill quickly doesn't really make or break you.
It can.
Not down to the split second. Not really. Not like 10 and 20. 10 and 20.
10 and 20 definitely bigger difference, but sometimes I'm
sorry, David, I cut you off twice too, by the way.
There's been times where before they had like the hotkey to pick them, I would be going over, clicking what I need, and then even though I'm only picking my level 7, for example, it makes a big difference. For Tyrael, I think level 16 is one of his most important picks in the game if you're trying to do a DPS Tyrael, not to go into it. So when you hit 20, it's not so big of a deal for Tyrael. I feel like 16 is his big, now I can start killing people level. So being able to automatically pick it. With Control 1, the option I want is easier to remember, especially for new players, than people that have to remember Control 2 in that regards. And people who are brand new, they might be able to just put that in, so that way when he hits 16, you know that you can go in on people and actually have a chance at killing them.
See, I'd actually make the argument that your level 20 pick is probably the least important pick in the whole game, because almost everybody just picks their level 20 version of their ultimate, from what I see, most of the time. But, I mean, the other thing, and to jump back to kind of the point in general, I'm going to go all math teacher on everybody and basically say that it's not enough that, I'm not even a math teacher, but, to me, I want people to think through. I don't want people to just look something up at heroesnexus.com that this is your DPS build, and then they plug it in. I want people to be thinking through the game. It's not like, don't tell me the answer is 8. Show me your work kind of thing. Like, show me how you get... Like, I think that's really important for people to be able to work through, because there's times where actually I've discovered a build I really like because I've accidentally hit I accidentally hit the wrong talent, because it made me kind of get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, but I don't think clicking a wrong button should be a thing that affects your game. But I think if you click the wrong button, it's your own fault and you have to survive. But I mean, making it easier to make sure you're hitting the right button is key. And I think that kind of is off topic, but
basically, Adam's trying to program sheep.
Yep, I'm gonna get 4 sheep to play with me, and we're gonna beat Ben and his team.
So the problem with your theory there is that you expect people to think.
Yeah,
not to be condescending or negative. But,
no, you guys want people to think. I want people just to go in and play.
My challenge is that really, if you're so clumsy that you're hitting the wrong talent, you're probably not going to do very good. If you can't hit the talent stationary thing, you're not going to hit Lily running 100 miles an hour through the game.
I've misclicked it once or twice, but
we all have.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. And then sometimes it kills you. Like, I'm telling you, it's like the worst sometimes when you click the wrong button. I hate it.
Yeah?
I hate it. Yes. Okay. Our final kind of forum topic of the week is looking at alternative to hero gold costs. Basically, it wasn't a long one, but I thought it was something really, I thought maybe a good idea. I don't know. But, where they said, once you play enough games with a hero, you automatically unlock them. What do you guys think of that? I'll shoot over to you first, Ril.
I don't know. I kind of have two minds, because how much is enough? One, and if you've played them that much, you've been earning gold that whole time, so why don't you just use that gold to then buy the hero? I don't really see a reason to take out the gold purchase, so to speak. I mean, I kind of like the thought of it, I suppose, but when a hero comes up in the free rotation, I mean, there's a lot of time there. There's 7 days there to play him, and if you're playing him so much that you would quote unquote earn him for free, you pretty much got that much gold in doing dailies and leveling and whatnot throughout that anyway. So why not just buy him with gold? I don't know. I don't really see the reason to give it away for free.
Mm-hmm. Well, in terms of kind of giving away for free, the one thing that he kind of points out is when you hit level 40, you're not getting quite the gold generation that you would kind of getting up to 40. So it's almost a max level gold thing, or max level thing where right. He's free for a week. You're playing a lot, and really that's what the gold system is you're playing enough to gain the gold. If you've already hit level 40 and you can't gain the gold quick enough in that week to get them, you have to wait months. And if you're willing to put in, say, all your hero quests get done plus another one, whatever the next step would be, why can't you get access to them? It's showing that you're putting in the time to play the character or hero that it would be just like if you were to put in the time to gain the gold. Ben, what do you think? And so are you making a crybaby face at me?
My new friend here hit a lot of things on the head. But my piece that I'm going to add to this, it feels like a casual player offering a hardcore solution. I mean, honestly, how many casual players are going to play over 100 games in a free rotation period on one champion? Not so much.
That's a very good point.
And so at that point, for that champion to come up again, we'll throw a number. Let's say in a free rotation period, on an average, someone will play a champion at best 30 games, okay? Well, that's not 100. So then I have to wait for that champion to come back up again in their next hero rotation to do it again. By that time, out of all the dailies I've done in that time and all the other champions that I could have played and unlock quests on, I could have used that gold to buy them in the first place. Boom.
Exactly.
Now, I'll jump in and disagree, but not exactly. I don't think we should necessarily have an alternate to buy the hero gold cost. But what I would propose is to use the system for skins. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is that, for one thing, I mean, people like me, right? I wouldn't necessarily... if I was able to keep pushing, and getting something beyond level 40, and maybe I'm not good enough for rank play. Maybe I should just, maybe I just enjoy grinding away the game, just like the people who play WoW who like doing dungeons and like doing dailies and like earning gold, but they really don't raid. That level of player, I like the grind. I just, maybe I'm not interested, or maybe I don't want the stress of rank play where people are yelling at me and stuff like that. Where I think, if you put a certain amount of effort in, and it wouldn't have to be an extraordinary amount of effort, kind of like the way you get your gold heroes in Hearthstone, then, I can unlock a skin of my choice. Or, it doesn't even have to be like maybe the best skins because they want people to buy those. But, some bonus skins and things like that. I do find
like an ultimate skin?
Yes, kind of like an ultimate. But beyond just that. I mean, to me, the ultimate skin is just like the eventual, like you get like your tins. But I mean, like to the point where I can have my goofy looking stitches and a bikini. So I mean, to me, I think there should be, if you put enough effort into it, because eventually, I mean, everyone's like, at least the first batch of people who are going to be into this game right off of launch, they're going to hit max level. I mean, it's not like there's going to be expansions coming out where the levels going to go up, right? I mean, we're going to hit max level, and there's going to have to be something for them. Otherwise, there's not really going to be an incentive to continue. And it's not always just, okay, well, I'm earning gold to get a new hero. I'm kind of like, well, maybe I'm happy with the guys I got. I just want to make them look cooler.
Mm-hmm. You swayed me, Ben. I agree with you.
Yes! I win.
No, I it is one of those things where I can see the point of view from, like, I think the way you said best was, it's a casual player giving a hardcore solution.
That was a very good way to put it.
I think that is like the best way of putting it, where if you're that casual playing, you're probably not going to get that many plays in with them during a rotation week, and especially once you get up into the, like we said earlier, into the hundreds, the rotation weeks are going to be fewer and far between for the specific hero. So I think you made a very good point there. You win the internet today.
I like David's point there too.
You 1%ers, man. Occupy Nexus.
I like David's point. I think there should be, in addition to the hero tints that you get for X amount of games played, throw out a skin. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be as epic as the paid for skins, but it's another way of showing that you've put a lot of time in on that specific hero versus just the hero tints. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you might not like that third unlock hero tint. I've actually found on a lot of the characters I like the first unlock better than the other ones. Mm-hmm. So, but I like that feeling of showing like, hey, I've played 97 matches of Uther. That's why so I have that tint to show that. Mm-hmm. Why not throw out a skin for that exact that thing? Because that incentivizes continuous play, even if the allure, the thought of real money purchase is taken out, but it incentivizes that continuous play outside of even gold.
There's just the carrot that's there waiting for
That's
you.
the carrot, yes.
Mm-hmm. Just like
the whole idea of a free-to-play game is that, you've got, a certain smaller percentage, I assume, of players who are kind of supporting the game monetarily.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then, but you've made your game free-to-play because you just need bodies, right? You need people in there playing the game. So that way we're not sitting there with 30-minute queue times. And I think that there is, you've got to give an incentive for people who are maybe not casual and not hardcore. I mean, I like to play the game a lot, but maybe, I can't get into ranked play because it's just too frustrating. I think you see that a little bit in Hearthstone sometimes. People get really frustrated because the player base has increased so much that it's really hard to do anything in ranked play, and it turns them off. On the other hand, casual is kind of like, at least in that game you can get card decks and things like that. Whereas in this game, you gotta give a carrot to some people. Not everybody's going to be hardcore in a 5-man team, but but you don't want people who are just going to play once a month either. I know I would have played like crazy this week if I knew I had a chance of getting a skin that I liked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of playing real quick, I bought a Naga for WildStar, and it works perfectly with WildStar. I absolutely hate it for Heroes. And I probably will not. I'll be putting in games on Heroes, but I'm not going to play it hardcore till I get home and I get my Death Adder back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be playing a little bit more this week. I think we got a week or two before we get a new hero, Zagara. And I'm going to say it now. We're going to get this wipe this month. The next wipe this month.
Yeah,
it feels like it's coming.
Yeah, and I'm only level 28, and I want to hit 30 because I didn't get the lanyard last time either.
Well, why would you want to hit 30 then?
Because you get the lanyard at 30, don't you?
No, it's 40.
40.
Right? Yeah,
yeah,
40.
It was 30 last time, wasn't it?
No, it's 40. 40's max level.
Did you already get your 100 games of Zuther?
No. I'm like 80, 89 or something.
Hammer that out. You will
I know.
get so much XP.
Yeah.
Yep, I need to do that.
Okay, I think it's about time we move on to our hero spotlight this week.
This is the Hero Spotlight.
Now, this week, our hero spotlight is the Archangel of Justice, Tyrael. Now, David has pawned off the little lore section over to me, and I'm not as good as he is in just describing him. But I have to say, in all of Blizzard, Tyrael is my favorite character.
Really?
It is, and I don't know why. I always like the kind of the paladin feel in good in games, and he's kind of like I think that amped up to like the nth level and
to 11.
Yeah, like he is just I think really awesome. Now, for those of you who don't know, being an Archangel of Justice basically means that he's on the Angaris Council, and I'm probably hacking that word to pieces.
Angaris, I believe.
Angaris, yeah. So basically, from the dawn of time, he's been fighting the eternal conflict against the demons alongside his brethren. Some notable things that have kind of happened with him is during the Sin War, which was the creation of Sanctuary. And real, if you know this and I'm wrong, just let me know. There a vote came to the Angaris Council whether or not to destroy Sanctuary or to kind of let it be and let them kind of find their own way. And it actually came down to Tyrael's vote because Imperius voted to eradicate them. Malthael abstained from voting, and Uriel and Ethereal both voted in favor of them to let them kind of live their lives. And I think from what I understand, Imperius and they really felt as though Tyrael would side with him and saying that they need to be cleared out because they have too much of a chance for evil. But he decided to kind of save humanity. So it's really him who saves humanity the first time after the first separation and the first descendants from the angel and demon children. So it is really his job at that point. Now you kind of fast forward hundreds of years, I believe, and Tyrael is actually the one member of the Angaris Council who helps humanity fight back the primary evils as he takes the World Stone and creates the Soul Stones that hold Baal and Mephisto and Diablo, and he creates the Herodrian Order to kind of protect these Royal Stones and kind of save the world from those major evils. I think the first time that we as players really see him is in Diablo 2. And this is where he's, kind of helping us along, letting us know what we're supposed to do to stop Diablo for a second time. And as everyone knows, we do save the world because there is a Diablo 3. I'm going to throw some spoilers out here. Ben, you look like you're enjoying me trying to explain this.
Keep going.
So some spoilers for Diablo 3. I'm not going to go into the newest, but just the regular Diablo 3. Diablo. Oh man. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. So in Diablo 3, at first you don't know, but the prophecy is that justice falls, and I for one called it right from the beginning that justice falling meant that that Tyrael would actually become mortal. And the big difference is some people kind of confuse mortal and human. Human, it basically means descendant of angel and demon, where mortal just means he can die. He helps us. He basically becomes the Deckard Cain of Diablo 3, where he kind of leads us through the story. Eventually, kind of taking a seat back up with his brothers as the aspect of wisdom, now that he's no longer an actual archangel. And that's kind of where he stands going into Reaper of Souls. And I won't go any further with Reaper of Souls because, there's still people kind of just playing that to begin with. So, Rel, being a Diablo, you're a Diablo fan in general, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How'd I do?
Oh, you did very well. Yeah, very, very well. Yeah, actually, there wouldn't be anything to correct, really.
That's what I was going to say. Anything you could think of that needs to be said about Tyrael?
No. Actually, the only thing I was going to say for a little bit of a knowledge bomb, if you, I guess, call it that, is Nephilim is, in fact, a reference to a biblical construct. It was in Genesis chapter 6. They were talking about the Nephilim, who were the children of old, the sons of fallen angels, essentially. Mm-hmm. So that is a direct biblical.
Were they the ones that were like the giants or something?
Yes, they were described as giants. Yeah, this was in the kind of the story of Noah. They talked about the giants, the Nephilim, who roamed the mountainside, and they were among those who were wiped out in the flood. Mm-hmm. So and a little bit of a knowledge bomb on there.
Yeah, I was going to say Diablo does a lot of kind of pulling from, really like the Roman Catholic, Christian
absolutely.
Idea, a ton of that. But then they also
a lot of things.
They like to add the high fantasy stuff, like was it Tiamat? Is the 7-headed dragon of all colors is who the demons become. So they throw a lot. I think I like how the story comes from. I think that's why Tyrael and Diablo, it might be my favorite story in terms of all the.
Because it's so grounded.
Yeah, it's so grounded and they just pull a lot. Well, I guess they pull a lot from everything, anyways. But I like.
They do, yeah. In fact, Mike. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. No, I think it's even pretty cool. Like, I mean, a lot of their stuff does come from real life. Like even Tiamat, it's in high fantasy from Dungeons and Dragons, I think. But was actually like a Sumerian monster. Yeah. It was a Babylonian monster. Like they really do. It is very grounded compared to say like World of Warcraft, for instance.
Yeah, Matt Rossi, in fact, just wrote an article about the influence on Diablo, things that he's found in playing, things that come from Judeo-Christian background, I believe even Norse mythology, things along those lines. If you don't read Matt Rossi, he's one of the writers at WoW Insider, among other things, and he is unquestionably one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever had the pleasure of speaking with. I had him on my old WoW podcast a couple times.
Yep, and you want to know what the best thing about him?
What's that?
He's a Rhode Islander. Just like
is he?
Yep.
Well, I mean, now he's a Canadian, so
well,
he's actually more like David. So that's.
I think Matt would probably argue with that. I know a few times.
Yeah,
that he's not Canadian.
I know.
This is true.
I've read both the Book of Tyrael and the Book of Cain, which I think are great ways you can, if you want to kind of learn more about just the story behind everything in Diablo, go and check those out. The regular books are good as well, but those two, if you want to just get a lot of background and like quick story pieces, go there.
I like the regular books. That's good.
The regular books. Well, they're more like encyclopedias,
Yeah.
I read Diablo encyclopedias. I'm cool.
That's right. And they even smell like musty old tomes.
So in terms of gameplay, we have Tyrael. He's a warrior, and we have been very mean to Tyrael on this show. Like, we have made fun of him in more episodes than we didn't, but the changes have been made, and I think he is one of the best character or heroes in the game at this point.
Absolutely.
He has his Archangel's Wrath, and we talked about the change to this a little bit. Basically, when he dies, he becomes invulnerable and explodes after 2 seconds, dealing damage to any nearby heroes that are enemies. And he resurrects 20% faster for every hero he hits with this. So, in essence, if you were able to bundle up all your heroes together, or enemy heroes together, and you explode, you come back instantly, which really fits well with kind of the idea of the angel. It's like the quick speed, and you're back to life.
He also has Eldruin's Might, deals damage to enemies within a target area, slowing them by 25%. Reactivating while the blade is present will teleport Tyrael to his blade, dealing damage and slowing the enemies around it.
Defensive ability he has is called Righteousness. Shields Tyrael against damage, and nearby allies gain a shield as well for 4 seconds.
And Smite, Tyrael rakes target area for damage. Allies moving through the targeted area gain 25% increased movement speed for 2 seconds.
And his two choices for his heroic ability is Judgment, where he charges a target, dealing damage and stunning them for 2 seconds. While he's charging, any enemies that are nearby get knocked back as well and take damage. He has also Sanctification, where he channels and all nearby heroes are invulnerable and unstoppable for 3 seconds. However, he is not, and he can die while he's doing this. Just, remember that. Like, I find that a lot of people do not realize that when they cast it, so they'll kind of be in the front of the group and cast it. That's kind of my one hint with that ability from mistakes that I've made. I've had everyone behind me, and I'm like, I will protect you, and I cast it, and they're like, okay, we'll just kill you first. What have you guys, any gameplay, any of you guys play a lot with Tyrael? Any hints, tricks, maybe little strategies you guys have seen?
I've started playing with Tyrael a lot more now lately, after the change up to his talents and his whole build. I don't know if I can really give too many hints. I mean, I haven't played him that much. The one thing I will say is the big thing with Smite is remember the movement speed. It's so hard to forget that is a movement speed buff that you tend to just use it for damage, and you don't place it kind of strategically. Depending on who you're going up against, the type of character or the type of hero that it is, there's a good chance that depending on their percentage of health, they're going to start running, to the right, whatever it is. Drop that Smite behind them so that they move across to A for the damage, and then in your chasing, you get that speed boost so that you can remain on them and hitting them as you run. A lot of times you kind of just drop it right where they're standing, and depending on who they are, if it's Illidan, he does that flip over top of you. You take off running the other direction. A, they don't get the damage, and B, you don't get the benefit of that speed boost. And also remember that you can drop that Smite to help your, it's as much a buff to your allies as it is in terms of the damage. So, you can drop it so that people can continue to chase if they're chasing or if they're running too. If you see somebody low in health, drop them a Smite right in front of them so they can get a speed boost to get out of there.
Yes, I've gotten away with Tyrael so many times because I drop Smite, run, throw your Eldruin's Might as a teleport instead of a damage. So it's kind of really cool how those two abilities have both the offensive and defensive capabilities.
Right.
People just see the damage part and they're like, oh, I always have to hit somebody with that, but you don't have to. When building out Tyrael, I build a very attack-orientated build with him. So I take things where the number of people that get hit by your Smite, it increases your next basic attack. The ability that you activate it and it uses up mana, but you do more damage. And the key that I find is level 16. I should really know the name of all these, but at level 16, you throw out your sword, and when you teleport it, you double the damage of your next 3 attacks. So I like to build a very melee attack heavy Tyrael. So by the time level 16 comes, you can one-on-one Illidan, you can one-on-one almost anybody in the game if you're able to close the gap with Eldraune's Might. I find him, now that they made the changes, a lot more fun. Now, in terms of heroic abilities, I would say about 95% of the time, Judgment is the better choice because of the ability to charge. You can, and especially once you get level 20, you get a longer range to charge from. Also, the cooldown is brought down immensely. So I definitely recommend doing it that way. If you're looking to play more of a defensive game, there are abilities that will buff his righteousness, dealing damage, and sanctification. Cursed Hollow really is kind of the best place for that, but you just have to be smart with, like I said, where you are in terms of placement compared to the enemies. You want to be behind your allies as they're invulnerable, because that'll kind of give you the upper edge. That's not even the right word, is it?
The upper hand?
The upper hand. It gives you the upper hand because if you're behind them, they're going to block some of the abilities that they're going to try and hit you with, and then your allies can at least take one of them out in that 3 seconds that they're invulnerable. Now, Dave, what do you think of the skins for Tyrael?
I'm glad you asked, because I barely ever play Tyrael.
It's because I'm always playing him. I don't think I'd let you play him.
However, I do have strong opinions on his skins. His skins are great. A lot of people really like the demonic one. My favorite's actually, I think it's the Seraphim one. Mm-hmm. Something about, I don't know, it's just that look, like that dead face look, like that mask he's got. It's actually a little scarier than the demon look. I don't know. I guess I watched a lot of those Ray Harryhausen movies from the 50s, and it just, for some reason, looks like something that would have, stop motion attacked Jason on the Argonauts or something like that. So, and every time I see that, I try to lower my FPS so it looks like an old stop motion Ray Harryhausen. So I think his skins are really, really good. I think it's some of the best stuff that they've done in the game, skin-wise. And, I'd like to be able to earn them through in-play as opposed to...
It's funny you say that about the mask. That kind of just that muted blank look mask. It immediately made me think of the came out of retirement gladiator that Russell Crowe fights in the movie Gladiator. Like that mask. And there's something about that is really, really not terrifying, but it gives you pause. in should I attack somebody who looks that calm and that placid in the face of battle? There's something about that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like the shoulders on one of the presets in World of
Warcraft.
It's like that dead look. It's like
the Tier 6.
Tier 6.
Yep.
And it's like it's like this is Tyrael when he means business, because he's just dead. Although in general you don't see the angels' faces anyways, but it's just a different way of doing it. And I have a hard time deciding which of the two I like the most of those two skins, because the recolors are awesome as well. The red and black recolor of the Seraphim skin is one of, I think everyone's like, oh, that's the best one. But then you look at the demon one, and they have that green one that gives you that fell look.
That is sick. Yes.
It's so hard to choose between them.
Yeah, and for nostalgia reasons, the Seraphim really holds out for me because way back in 1997, the very first guild I ever started in Ultima Online was called the Seraphim Riders of Britannia, SRB. So,
Ben, do you have any thoughts on Tyrael?
I mean, really a lot of it on the head with the strategy-wise. He's not my style per se, but I will definitely welcome a Tyrael who knows what he's doing. When you play Tyrael, I have no problems against it at all. It's an interesting matchup. He doesn't do enough damage for me personally to play him a lot. But I messed around with him, done a few things. I don't mind pairing with him, if I'm playing Tychus or someone. But he's definitely not a bad champion. He's a lot better off now with some minor adjustments than he used to be. So that's definitely a good direction to take it. So not a whole lot on that front.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I think that'll do it for Hero Spotlight this week. This is the last hero that we had to cover in the spotlights. It's crazy to think that we've gotten through all of them. What does that mean for our show? Basically, we're going to start going through the battlegrounds. We're going to start revisiting some heroes once, now that, some of them have changed. I mean, there are heroes that we hit over 6 months ago that we didn't even get to play when we talked about them. So you're going to see us have smaller kind of, just quick little like revisits on some of them. We're going to do the battlegrounds, and when the new heroes come out, there'll be a hero spotlight for the week that they come out. So it's gonna, we still got plenty of stuff we can do. So don't worry, we got stuff for this spot. We're gonna hit a little bit of podcast news now. Our Nexus Ultimate Showdown is still going on. We're gonna end the second round tonight, right after the end of the show. So go ahead and check it out. The link will be in the show notes as well. And then we got some pretty big news for World of Podcasts. As a lot of people know, we are part of Catalyst Gaming Media, who puts on World of Podcasts. So while we're at BlizzCon this year, we're going to be a big as part of it as we can be. We do know now that it's going to be taking place in the Hilton at right across the street from the convention center. We were able to give that information out because it was officially announced. We're going to be staying in the Marriott, so we're not going to be too far from it. It's pretty much like a second down the road. Not even down the road. It's in the same block from everything I've seen. And Catalyst and World Podcast will be teaming up with Ask Mr. Robot, and we got OpenRate as a sponsor. So they got, I guess, as a sponsor. So it's really cool. They're pushing it forward. Go to worldofpodcast.com for like full details, especially if you want to either help out, whether it be giving your time to while you're at BlizzCon. They're looking still for some help monetarily. So anything you can do, there's a survey that they want to take people to take because they're going to try and get, podcasters, want to make sure they get the podcasters you want at this, and, be like, just, you get to put 5 podcasters down. So, we do have 4 regular hosts, so you could always put the 4 of us and then somebody else. like Rilandune,
Wait, so you said you're staying in the Marriott?
You're staying in the Marriott too.
I am.
Yeah, I told you they offered you a spot in the room.
Well,
I told you.
Sorry,
anyway,
go
we
ahead.
can talk about this later.
Well, no, I was going to say because I actually managed to book a room in the Hilton.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I wish you would have told me. Wow, I don't remember that.
Well, no, we can talk about it offline, but it has to do with the 2 guys that are coming.
Either way, we're gonna be there. It's gonna be
like a
great
Freddie
time.
Prinze movie here.
Yeah. Anyways, Ril, you're our guest. Why don't you kind of go first and let people know how they can get a hold of you and anything you want to pimp out in terms of your shows that are going on.
Yeah, you can listen to another Heroes of the Storm podcast called HotScast. You can find that at HotScast.com, at HotScast on Twitter, HotScast on Stitcher, iTunes, pretty much everywhere. If you see HotScast, it's us. So that is my Heroes of the Storm podcast, frequently featuring these guys and doing our streaming nights and whatnot. We're very close friends. Mm-hmm. You can find me personally on Twitter at Rilandune. That's Rilandune. And I have another show that I produce with my good buddy Nevik from the Shattered Soulstone podcast. We call it Heroically Random, and it is not all that dissimilar from the Random Geekcast. Coincidentally.
The X-Random Geekcast.
Okay.
I'll bring up the source stuff.
Sorry. Yeah, we call it the game-fueled, tangent-filled Geekcast, where we talk about pretty much anything and everything. So you can find that at heroicallyrandom.com, Heroically Random on Twitter, Heroically Random on Stitcher, iTunes. Goes on and on from there. So, yep, that's pretty much it. And I will be at BlizzCon, so... if you're there, come up and say hi. Give me a hug.
I was going to say, you're going to offer people to let you give me a hug.
Yeah, why not? Yep.
I'm more of a...
I'm not hard to find. I'm one of the tallest people there usually. So
okay.
there was only about 3 or 4 people there last year that were taller. I will actually be staying at the Red Lion, so not far, right down the road.
Ben, where can people get a hold of you?
Mostly you can get a hold of me on Twitter at Stacks and Packs. That's STAKSNPAKS. Just throw me a message on there if you want to hit up and play some heroes. Just get on a hold of me on there, and I'll give you my battle tag. I'll be at BlizzCon hanging out with these guys, so if you want to chill, talk it up, whatever. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
And David, what about you? Where can people get you?
Mostly you'll be able to find me in random bars around Toronto, changing my cheering interest in the World Cup depending on the nationality of said bar. But if you're referring to the internet, you can find me on Twitter at BrilandCTR. We're also starting heroic raiding with the Salad Senates. So we do stream most raid nights as well. So it's going to be my Fire Mage versus a big old wet spot in Siege of Orgrimmar. So we're going to see how that goes. I'm hoping a lot of steam. And we'll see. Well, it's actually my first heroic rating in World of Warcraft, so I'm kind of excited.
Nice.
And you can reach me at Geek of Random on Twitter. You can reach the show directly at the Nexus Podcast. You can send in your questions because we'd love to hear from you guys at show@heroesofthenexus.com. For those of you who are listening to our podcast that have either downloaded from iTunes, Stitcher, Windows, you can reach us at our normal recording time, Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/heroesofTheNexus. Anyone who wants to help out the show, we do have a Patreon at patreon.com/thenexus. Finally, we're parts of Catalyst Gaming Media. Like we said before, they're great people. Go check out more stuff at catalystgamingmedia.com, including what we'll be starting this week is my weekly Heroes of the Storm blog, I guess you would consider it, as I will be going through strategies with heroes, making up heroes of my own. I know I talked about that before, but now I have somewhere to go with it. And pretty much anything else I can think of about heroes. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourselves a great week, and we will see you inside the Nexus. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers.
Good night, everyone.
Brockle rock. No.
What kind of salad does David mean?
And you can stop your audacity. No, that's cool that, Ben, I just didn't I thought you were still on board with me.
So I thought we talked about this, but maybe not. So we sat on Skype that night. Yeah, we sat on Skype that night. We got our tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, no, we're not going to go. So I sent them a text the next morning. I was like, oh, I actually got into the queue, so I actually got a ticket. And then they were kind of like, they sat there for like a couple days and were thinking about it, blah, blah, blah. I did the queue for them that Saturday because they were working, so I got their tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, all right, cool, let's go. So while we were not sure exactly what route we were going to go down, I just went and booked a room at the Hilton using my credit card just to have as like a backup.
Got it. Because originally we were going to try and get one of those rooms and split them with a bunch of people, or a little condo, and then the condo didn't work out because we couldn't get one that Dekatsu could bring a dog with. So that
bringing a dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that works out because we did have 5 people in our room, and I was going to actually move into we were going to do something where not me, but like Cage was going to move in with a couple other people, but that makes it easier. I don't have to kick them out.
So what I'm worried about now that I did this is that, I mean, I've got the reservation and everything in my email under my BlizzCon folder, is we're going to show up there and be like, oh yeah, we can accommodate your reservation. And I'm going to be like, someone's going to die.
You're like, Adam?
Like homeless.
Can I sleep somewhere?
I totally would flip if that happened.
Why wouldn't they be able to?
Dude, in my time on the road, traveling for my work, I've encountered a lot of weird things with airplanes and hotel reservations.
Right.
Now, granted, all I got to do is pull out my DoD ID and slide it on the table and say, fix it. But,
ooh,
yeah.
That's all right.
Granted,
That's cool.
I will be bringing with me to BlizzCon just in case, but...
Pulling rank is how they
can you do that and be like, I got 2 rooms.
You know what? If I had that
try
ID ban, I would want them to screw up just so I could do that.
Okay, I'm going to bring down the stream. Thank you for tuning in. I
Jeff.
don't know how long ago I haven't seen someone talking a bit, but I don't know. My stream's shut down. Hopefully everyone else has been able to watch it. Have a great night, stream.